So this video here is just a little reminder about the different types of sequences that we've gone over. It is a good video to be watching because there will be a couple questions on your test about sequences. We have our two different types of sequences. We have our arithmetic sequence and we have the geometric sequence. Arithmetic sequence is when we have a common difference. And a geometric sequence is when we have a common multiplier. Okay, and so remember the common difference is really the same as the slope, and the common multiplier is the same as a multiplier that we've been using in this chapter. As I'm looking at this arithmetic sequence, it goes from -8 to -5 to -2 to 1. What I'm noticing is I'm actually adding 3 every time to get to the next term. And that is really important because this is what we're going to call our common difference. And that is really important when we come to writing our equation, because our equation is always going to be t of n. Remember, we're using t of n because n is a natural number. We're never going to have sequence term like 1.5. These are just going to be positive whole numbers only. So t of n is going to be that common difference times n plus term 0. Well, term 0 in this case would be back here and it would become it is. So we're going to put plus -11, or t of n equals 3n minus 11. Remember, if I'm asking you for the 10th term, when I say t of 10, that means I want the 10th term. And so I'm asking you to plug 10 into the equation for n. And in this case, t of 10 equals 30 minus 11, which is 19. So this is really saying we have a point 10, 19, or the 10th term has a value of 19. Every once in a while you might be said t of n equals something like 52. And what we're trying to do on this problem is we're trying to figure out what term has 52 as the value. So we know that 3n minus 11 would equal 52, or that 3n would equal 63. Divide both sides by 3 and we'd find out that n was 21. So in this problem, we know that the 21st term is 52. In the problem that I did above it, I found that the 10th term was 19. Remember, when you're doing the problems like this one that I did right here, this is sometimes when you're going to get that, you know what, 52 isn't the value of any of the terms. If our n is not a positive whole number, then that means that that is not a value that we can use. So that's arithmetic sequences. So let's take a look at the geometric sequences here. So the geometric sequences that I have, it goes 256 to 128 to 64. And what you will notice is it's multiplying by a half. We never really consider a multiplier to be a division problem. It would always be a multiplication of a unit fraction instead. So this is going to be our multiplier. Just like in the arithmetic sequence, we actually want to know what t of 0 would be. So instead of multiplying by half, I'm going to multiply by 2 and get 512. So this equation might have been hard back in chapter 5, but now this equation should be pretty easy for you guys to do because we know that when we are writing our exponential function, we know that our y-intercept is that first number that we're going to use. And our multiplier goes inside parentheses, raised, in this case, to the nth power. So in this problem, if I said, hey, what is the 10th term? We're going to do t of 10 equals 512 times 1/2 to the 10th power. Now this is probably going to be pretty big, because if I put in 0.5 to the 10th power, that right there is actually gets kind of small. We're going to then multiply that by 512. And we actually get that the 10th term equals 1/2. So let me just double check that. I'm going to do 0.5 to the 10th power, get that answer, and multiply by 512, and we get 1/2. Then but what we don't really know how to do, really, is me asking you what term equals something like 88. But what I do know is when I have my list up here, if I have 64 in my list and I have 128 in my list, then I know that there is no n that can give me 88. So 88 is not a term in my sequence. So I hope that gives you guys a good refresher on how to do sequences. If not, let me know at the meet session, either today or Monday, or Thursday or Monday, and I would be happy to explain it some more. Thanks.